Let's begin. So start just by feeling the volume of our chest and our ribs expanding, dynamic. So when we are feeling for the spatial component of our body, that may go differently than changing our breath, right? Kind of listening and feeling with the breath, perceiving with the breath, particularly perceiving space, boundary, limit, freedom. Whether the eyes are open or closed, feel the eye movement, the muscle movement, the eye movement. Finding a nest, like a visual or a vision anchor. And let the vision field expand out so that point is just an epicenter in a much broader field. And as our vision field expands, note how that feels in your body. Is there any correspondence, vision field, bodily, breath, boundary field? So we begin our pranayama with our hands. I'm going both sets of hands, fingertips, 4 fingertips. The palm is hovering off the ground, so the stretch is light. And I'm leading the palm away from the fingertips for something akin to like a skin stretch. I'm not trying to bend the joints of the hand or the wrist, but just to feel the spatial component in between bones. One of the things I think is so cool as a meditation, it's a biological thing, is that as our bones are developing, our limbs, our arms, our legs, the bone appears, and then space appears in and in between the bone growth. And this is all prior to muscle and nerve branching in. So bone space, all of this precedes movement. So the prehension, the sense of bone space, joint space, comes embryologically before muscle movement, how to move, skillful moving. Release. We'll take 3 deep breaths so you can feel the boundary or the enlargement or the aliveness or the smallness, anything noteworthy in and about the hands and the most distal portion of the arm limbs. Let's lie on our back. We're going to get right into some abdominal stuff. So from lying, we'll bring the feet off the ground, knees over the hips. You could leave the head down. If you leave the head down, you'll have that added awareness task, if you will, of feeling the ribs expand into the ground. Or, as you inhale, you can lift the head and the shoulder blades up. It's more of a guarantee you'll feel those back ribs expanding into the ground. Exhale, reach the left leg out. Spread the foot bones, splay the foot bones. Draw the low belly down. Inhale, bend left knee. Exhale, right leg out reaches. Draw low belly down. We'll do like 4 more on each side. Since you're so familiar with these, let's just proceed at our own pace. 4 more aside. Just as I'm reaching my limbs out, letting it be a kind of a developmental meditation and feeling the bone growth moving from the pubic bone. Right? It would have started as really a little nub, a bud of bone at the pubic bone area. And from there, the bone. And keep growing outward. And then a space would occur. That would be the end of the thigh bone. Bone would keep growing. Another space would occur. That would be the bottom of the shin bones. All these osteo sites just be snowflaking in, aggregating, snowflaking, leaving perfect and particular spaces. Become the joint spaces. So from an embryological point of view, our body, the matter of our body creates space. Our body is creating. with quite a bit of precision, and it's kind of miraculous. We're going to set up for a bridge half Virasana. So I'll suggest having a block, setting the feet up hip width, fingertip distance away. Exhaling, the tailbone shifts toward the kneecaps. Feeling the thigh bones moving from the pubic bone. And we'll slip that block under the sacrum. And just take a few breath moments to just kind of move or scroll your attention to the bottom of the thigh bone, which is now under the kneecap. The top of the shin bone, so we're still under the kneecap area. And follow that shin bone all the way down. Now we're somewhere between shin bone and heel. And going forward from the heel, there's a lot of ankle bone and those longer rays of bones and all those littler toe bones. Right hand reaches down to grab the right ankle. I would draw this right foot back into half Virasana. And when we release, we'll switch sides. So the right sole of foot goes down. The left hand grabs the left ankle area, drawing the foot back. And release. Inhale, press away from the block. Stay up in bridge as you remove the block. Now pressing through the feet, using the legs, feeling the legs. And now we'll lower the spine down. And just remain a couple breath moments if your back needs to acclimate to the ground. All right. So good to go. Let's turn over and ready ourselves for dolphin. So we're going elbows and knees. I'll go toe pads under. Hand bones splayed. You can get a sense of just how numerous the hands and the feet, how numerously space has been created in the hand area and the foot area. Exhale the knees off the ground. I think there's some healing wisdom to having a map. I'm going to use kind of an awkward phrase here, but having a map of the negative space of the body, which is really anything but negative, right? But having a map of how the body has drawn kind of delineations and boundaries within itself. And that we can meditate and breathe and just marinate in that intelligent space of the body. We'll anchor the left heel down. You can do this by stepping down with your right foot or just kind of reaching the left heel downward. And then inhale, smoothly raise the right leg up. And again, following from the right side pubic bone, you can follow out through the thigh bone. To the end of the thigh bone. The top of the shin bone. To the bottom of the shin bone. And switch sides. We'll set the right foot down. And we can anchor through the heel bone. Elevate left leg. Sometimes, not always, but sometimes just tracing through the development of a structure, bringing our current abilities, awareness, and sensitivities, just kind of moving through the layer by layer process of the body becoming. Sometimes some interesting things happen. I find that it can actually help kind of re-script certain growth patterns, certain trajectories. So we'll set the left foot down, we'll set the knees down. And then inhale, slide the hands under the shoulders. Exhale, down dog. Inhale. We'll step the left foot forward. Additionally, let's pad the right knee as we set it down for lunge. There'll be a couple lunge variations. How interesting. It's a whole bunch of shin, knee, thigh bone adjustments. So strange and cool. Inhale, go arms up, lunge. I'm going to set the left hand on the thigh for support, heel to butt lunge, right hand. Again, grabs the right foot. I'm drawing the right heel nearer to the right hip. Release. Inhale, we'll set the hands down, exhaling chaturanga. Now, if you want to have another pass today at making all of the belly on ground moves, roll moves, please feel free. We'll be getting a little bit into some back bend. So I'm going to do a roll on belly for the lowering down portion. 100% optional. Today's a good day if you want to insert it. And just for super clarity, you don't have to do it. So these could all just be cobras without any prop. Here we go. Inhale, moving heart forward. Cobra. Cobra that might be over a roll. I'm going to take another inhale to slip the hands under. Exhale, downward dog. Inhale, we'll step the right foot forward, lunge. We're going to pad the left knee. We won't go into the organ space development today, but there's another very cool way to meditate on the interior space of the body, is following the development of organs inside of our thoracic and abdominal containment. But there are spaces that we can get into between the organs, and it makes for very deep, interesting breathing. All right, left hand grab left ankle, heel to butt lunge. So it might be kind of cool is you might just track with the awareness in which the leg nerve and the leg muscles branched in around the leg bones. And we could just play with the left leg for now. You're playing in that awareness in which all of the nerve and the muscle just kind of branched in and layered in. It's really fascinating. The moment, the instant I have the notion that I need to move my muscle, something like stutters. And the moment I return to just the awareness that's layering in, that's growing in that muscle and that nerve, that leg just keeps moving and moving and moving. I'm just sharing my experience, we don't have to have the same experience. And then we'll release. Inhale the hands down. Exhale, we'll step back to lower with or without a roll for cobra. Inhale. As I'm sending the legs back, I'm going to, kind of old words, but I can kind of grow the buds of legs back. That may feel incredibly differently. Let's take a couple extra breaths. I need a couple extra breaths for that cue. It's a different part of the body. It's a different part of the brain awareness body. Lower. Inhaling, hands under chest. Exhale, downward dog. We're going to do a hybrid move. It's a hybrid of downward dog and turbo dog. So as you're seeing this and hearing this, just know you can stay in downward dog or you can choose turbo dog. Both of those may be a bit more stable for shoulders. Okay. So kind of like our move yesterday, our flash prep, I slide the left hand back. So maybe a foot or a foot and a half, perhaps. My right arm is straight, my left elbow bent, reaching down. So it's my right arm's doing downward dog. My left arm is doing turbo dog. I'm adjusting my left elbow under my shoulder. Then I'm going to straighten the left arm. So left arm is doing downward dog. I'm going to move the right hand a bit, so right hand is doing turbo dog. My left arm is straight, my right arm is bent. And just play around with it. We'll get different effects if the right elbow is under the shoulder or behind the shoulder. Very different, so just play. As long as you feel stable on your shoulders, it's all legal play. But I do have weight on all four limbs. I have weight in both my feet. I have weight in both of my hands. I'm not twisting or torquing anything in my shoulder. Inhale, step left. Let's straighten the right arm first, pardon me. And now inhale, step the left foot forward, warrior one. And we'll be doing some archer, so if you like a strap, grab it on your way up. Left elbow reaches up, right elbow reaches down. And if it's interesting to you, we could do in the future sometime, we can go through the formation of bones and space and structure in the body in a whole body way. That might be kind of a cool thing to do. We'll release. Patting the knee once again. Let's set the right knee down. Grab the right foot with both hands. It becomes a chest opening lunge. Heck, I'm going to use this strap. Let the foot draw the hand. We can always place ourselves, find ourselves in the awareness that was growing the space of the body. It's there. It's always there. It didn't get left behind 30 or 40 or 50 or 60 or 80 or 100 years ago. It's still there in the body. we'll release. Inhale, set. Exhaling, we'll step back to lower down. Roll or no roll. Cobra. Inhale. And exhale, lower downward dog. Keeping both hands where they are, symmetric. Turbo dog. So now bend both elbows. There's that rotation that leads the elbows under the shoulder, under the shoulder joint. And in this turbo dog, instead of going to the muscles to feel the workingness of the pose, go to the buds of the arms. Go to where the shoulder blade started growing a bud. Go to where the bud became a shoulder joint, where the arm bone continued to grow. The arm bone became an elbow space. The forearm bones. And just note if that going to that place isn't a good word, but going to that state is a different experience in your arms, in your pose. Inhale, step the right foot forward, warrior one, archer. Right elbow up, left elbow down. And release. Setting the left knee down on the ground, grabbing the left foot with both hands. For a chest opening lunge. Again, if there feels like there's some compression or congestion, we can go to the place, we can go to the awareness that preceded any of the perceived sense of limitation. Now, if you had a fetal trauma, we might have to go back a little bit further. So it kind of depends, but And release. All right. Inhale, we'll set the hands down. Exhaling, stepping back to lower. We're going with a roll, because why not? Inhale, cobra. Exhale, lower, downward dog. All right. So please have a rest for the sake of transition. We'll do a forearm, a dolphin at the wall. You could do forearm balance, absolutely, but I'm going to show and I'm going to do dolphin on the wall. So I'll just talk into it, and whenever you get a wall spot and join me is perfectly fine. So elbows under shoulders, knees under hips, feet within inches of the wall. Place the forearms out either in parallel or hands clasped. And the first exhale is simply bringing knees off the ground, feeling that you have adequate room. You could, if needed, push chest a little bit toward the wall. And then inhale, we'll step a foot up. Exhale the other foot up. Dolphin on the wall. We'll give it about 6 breaths. Simply continue until we're done. And when we are done, let's set up for bridge, which will turn into our wheel. And I'll talk us in with some generalities. So first we'll move into bridge, and we'll give it a few moments to just help us feel the arc, the contour. So we'll set feet up. Exhale, come into bridge. Remain in bridge for a moment, for the while. So the backs of the shoulders are on the ground. We're just going to do a little bit of hand and shoulder move here. Set the fingertips next to the shoulders, just like you would be preparing to press up, but stay on the ground, stay in bridge for the meanwhile. I'm just giving the hands and the wrists a chance to kind of open further and accept the weight. Reaching the leg bones forward, growing the arm bones skyward, and then the forearm bones groundward. I'm just taking a moment to feel my bone growing in the direction of both away from my center and into the ground. And then, when you're ready to press, you can begin by pressing the top of the head to the ground, which is a kind of a nice staging place, and then pressing the head off the ground. The arms may or may not straighten, but we'll go for about 8 breaths. Preparing to make your exit as smooth out as in. So just when you need to exit, do so with a plumb, with smoothness. And stay in bridge. I know it's a little strong on the legs. And just stay in bridge as rest. Allow the breath to grow large, exploring that sense of volume with the breath, space with the breath. We'll have time sufficient to do a second round. So you're welcome to remain in bridge. You're welcome to do the second round of wheel. There's a lot of places to just kind of acclimate and breathe, so you don't have to go into full wheel. Bridge is a prep move for wheel. Setting the hands on the ground and feeling the osteocytes of the arms is a great prep for wheel. Letting the head be a kind of a tripod on the ground is a great prep for wheel. Return to bridge so you can exit really slowly. And really, it's okay if the butt is super heated up or the leg muscles are super heated up. All of these sensations are, as long as they're pain-free, they're very workable. You want to train listening, feeling, all of these things. And taking your time to lower down. Once you feel the sacrum and the pelvic bones touch the ground, take a few more breaths to feel all of the musculature also Softening and releasing. And then we'll roll to a side for lounge lizard. So I'm going to roll to my left side. Roll to whichever side you need to see. Lounge lizard. I'll line up foot, hip, and hand. I'm propped up on my hand for a greater arc. If your wrists are bothering you, you could do your forearm on a block. It's not quite the same in the high up part of the ribs. My sense is, again, my experience, you don't have to have this experience, we'll switch sides, is that if I can embody, if I can return to that awareness that was that is present before all of these structures started growing and forming, I get to relax a lot. Like being in awe of such an intelligence that can form this without any scheme. In a sense, it kind of relaxes any tendency I may have to want to employ a scheme or an agenda. And when we release, we'll lie back. Any final release moves that will feel good to you, I'll encourage them now. For example, I'm going to take that pigeon-esque, that figure 4 back release. So we're moving in the direction of Shavasana. I'm just stopping along the way for a little hip release. And when you are released and you are in Shavasana, allowing ourselves to rediscover the kind of the more spatial map of the body. And when we find the spatial component of our form, feel that it is not a void, it is not a blank space. The space actually contains a great deal of a particular alive fullness. And that liveliness is also radically empty. Letting this meditation on the spatial component of our person, let it play with our sense of boundedness. And just for the sake of clarity, there are a lot of modalities that will seek to help us have healthy boundedness, boundaries. This is a lateral step from that. This is a play in having boundary, not so much boundary. Being bound, contained, constructed, having less form. Less certainty about our containment. Or a vastly enlarged sense of agency. So we don't lose our sense of self, it actually gets incomprehensibly larger. So take a slightly deepened breath so the breath can help us inform our physical, skin, boundaried human self who is about to make a move back into the world. Bend knees. Turn to a side. And press to seated. Namaste.